In today's video...
Dexter, take these home! Dexter, you got no sense!
Oh my god, you're talking so much stuff! What the fuck is this?
Go.
Oh my god, my phone. Yeah, bring your phone now. 100 days of Minecraft and F-Top 2. I survived 100 days in Minecraft factions. If you're at all familiar with my channel, you would know that I've been playing factions for a very long time, and I learned quite a few things down the road. Day 1. Now, before I do anything in real life and in Minecraft, I'm the kind of person that is always going to go into details and try to figure out as much as I can before I actually start the game itself. So that's why I took a look at the economy, and a melon and cactus seem to be superior. So obviously I went into creative and got myself a cactus farm and a melon design, so I'm all ready for day 2. Day 2. Logging on the server to actually play my very first day on the server itself was pretty exciting. Now obviously I had already been on the server one time before to check out the economy and figure out how the best start would be. Since I only have 100 days to do this, I thought it would be important to get as far as possible. I quickly realized that there is a /wild in spawn that allows you to get to a random location in the world for the small cost of $100. Nice. So obviously, to save time, I took the random location and just kind of started running until I found what seems to be a base, but not really. The good thing about it is that it had an enchanting table and it had a lot of sugarcane. So the first thing I did is mining the enchanting table. We can probably use that later. Checking if there's anything inside the base. And lastly, I took out all the sugarcane and sold it for a little bit of profit to get a good start. After that, I had to find a location for the first melon farm. So I ran around a little bit and found a good flat area. And then I pulled out my schematic. I cleared out all the grass, and I mined holes for the water, made myself a hoe, went into /printer, that basically puts you into creative mode, and you're only allowed to place certain blocks, so you can't place spawners, bedrock, and so on and so on. And any block that you place, you actually have to pay for. Now obviously I could have done this by just going into the shop and start buying the blocks and start placing them. However, with the printer mode, I did save a solid few minutes building our very first farm. After I was done with all the cobblestone and all the glowstone, I could go ahead and place all my melon seeds and start bone mealing them to again save a little bit of time, so I could start making melons instantly and start growing the farm. After I was done placing all the seed, I started expanding my farm, because the more melons I have, the more money we can make. And before I realized it, the farm was so huge that I had my first inventory of melon and sold it for a grand price of $7,000. Day 5. For the past 2 days, I have been doing nothing else than melons. I have been saving up money to start on our beautiful cactus farm. I have a total of 79,000 to start off our cactus farm. Now, I do realize 79,000 is probably not a lot, but I do want to get started on this ASAP. The first thing we should do is, of course, clear out 4 chunks. That is going to be the size of our cactus farm, so we had a lot of grass to go ahead and get rid of. And I ended up just using gen buckets to make the floor, because I kind of had to place quite a lot of dirt. Now, obviously, after I was done with the floor, I had to kind of lay out where we are going to have our cactus. So I used, once again, my schematic layout that I've already made to kind of get an idea of where I could put my wall and where I could put the cactus farm. Once I was done with that, all I had to do is just make a sand pillar all the way up to 255, and the reason I'm using sand is because I can easily get rid of that. After I went to 255, I used a cobblestone gen bucket to make myself a wall. Once I was done with that, I could go ahead and take out the sand with a slab. Very easy, and that is pretty much a finished box. Next up, I had to remove all the design I did with the cactus layout, because I wasn't really happy about it, but I ended up being happy about the layout, so I started printing. This right here was really expensive, but I actually managed to make an entire pillar and maybe 1/4 of another pillar before I completely ran out of money. And at this point, it was already starting to make a massive amount of cactus, but I quickly realized that I'm gonna need like a cell chest or something that can pick up this cactus, or else I'll have to stay here, even though the idea of the farm is to make something that's automatic. But alright, I needed a lot more money to finish off the cactus farm, so I went back to doing melons and was kind of waiting for the next envoy to happen where I will be able to get cell chests. So to get collection chests, I had to go through quite a lot of invoice, but finally I got 2 collection chests, and I got some spawners as well as some other stuff that I'm not really gonna go into or actually look at. I'm gonna do that later. Right now, I'm just really hyped, and I kind of want to get this into my cactus farm. So I mined into the cactus farm and got the collection chest placed, and it is already making money. Just look at how much money I'm making now. Keep in mind, this is only one single pillar of cactus. So already now, I'm making a really good amount of money, but of course it is not making enough money for me to sustain it and just keep building and selling and building and selling. So I went back to doing melons a little bit to get a little bit more money. I also went through all my chests for things I could sell like gold blocks and TNT, and I found a legendary boss egg, or I guess it's not really a boss egg, it's like a monster egg, pet egg thingy that you can kind of hatch. So it took 10 minutes to hatch this bad boy, but I actually got it on recording hatching as well. And here we are 5 seconds away from it hatching, and the crazy part here is that I got an iron golem pet. I cannot tell you how crazy this is. This pet is worth $20 million. That's right, guys. So all I had to do now is just find a buyer. And here is the trade. Mac Trevor was willing to give me a $20 million for the IG pet. This right here is absolutely massive. And I guess we don't really have to do a lot of melons anymore. So yeah, this is pretty good stuff. Day 6. I plan on spending the entire day doing an entire chunk of cactus. Now, obviously, I do have the money now. All it really comes down to is just time. So I started making this cactus farm, and we also actually managed to finish the entire chunk of cactus. And inside the collection chest, we already had 60k. So I sold everything in the chest, and let's go ahead and see how fast it is. It is actually going pretty fast. You also have to keep in mind that this right here is not even from bedrock to sky limit. So we are making a decent amount of money of one single chunk. Next step is creating a base. Obviously, I have to leave the comfort of my claims and wander out to try to see if I could find the world border. The reason I want to build out the world border is because then I don't have to build a whole side of regions and walls and so on and so on. But since I didn't have wilderness fly, this was gonna take me quite a while. Day 8. It took quite a while to find the border, but we are finally here. However, there was one claim where I just was at the world border, a faction named Clueless. Now, I don't really want to live too close to these guys, so I had to find a more free area and hopefully also a little bit more flat. I ended up finding a desert biome, which I think will be a perfect place for our starter base. Now, I'm not planning on living in this base right here forever. I'm most likely gonna make a new one at some point, so it just has to be something easy that still grants me a little bit of protection so I can get to place the enderments that I want from the invoice. However, a little hiccup was that I don't have enough power to claim a lot. Right now I have 20 claims and 20 power, which means I'm most likely gonna have to find an alt or someone to join the faction so I can claim our base. But nevertheless, I continued to build the base and managed to make a cobblestone box. Next up is of course walls, reverse layers, sand walls, and so on and so on. But this is pretty much all I managed to do in that one day. Day 9. Today we are going to finish off the base. What we are going to need is all the walls, and obviously we are going to need a glitch layer on the inside. Now lucky for me, I did all the schemes that I would possibly need before I even started playing. So as you can see, I got a schematic of all the netherrack and how to line up the walls and everything, so it was pretty easy. Once I got everything watered, I did find it a little bit annoying to actually mine the netherrack, but luckily for me, once again, we did get a raid earlier on, I guess you could call it a raid, and used the enchanting table to go ahead and enchant a pickaxe with efficiency 2, allowing me to mostly insta-break all the blocks. Once I finished all the walls, it was time to do some reverse layers so somebody couldn't just make a reverse cannon and get into my base extremely quickly. So I made about 6-7-ish layers of these and moved on. Next thing to work on was the glitch layer. Now it's important that there is 2 blocks underneath and at the top of the base. That way, if anyone is trying to glitch in, they're going to get stuck in those 2 high things. No water, no lava anywhere between the cobblestone box and the obsidian box. And that is pretty much how you can make yourself a glitch proof. But yeah, finishing off the obsidian box was really expensive, but luckily for me, I did have 20 million to begin with. Finishing off the box right here, and pretty much ready to grab all the spawners from the old base. It looks like I have 4 different types of spawners, and I'm pretty sure I had a little bit of gems and stuff like that I wanted to move over to the new base to make sure that didn't get raided. Placing the spawners in the base is quite satisfying, because now I have 2 ways of making money. I have my cactus farm, and I also have spawners. I marked up 50 blocks with netherrack where I'm going to have the floor. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna be spending one of my collection chests for the spawners, or I'm going to make another chunk of cactus. But for right now, I'm just gonna leave it as it is and not even AFK it until I figured that out. Day 10. I was getting kind of tired of grinding a lot, so I found this base right here called Pigtown. Now, I have no idea what is inside this base because there's no way to figure that out without world downloading it. So I thought, you know, this is an easy 1-stack hub. I would just go ahead and quickly get into it. You know, I do have a little bit of money for TNT, so what I did is that I just mined straight down. Once I got down there, I had the TNT out, so I had enough to make the cannon. But other than that, it was pretty easy to start cannoning, and yeah, it just pretty went smooth from there. It's a 1-stacker, so I'm not really sure what you could expect it to go wrong. We got into the base about 10 minutes after I set up the cannon, and first I was really afraid that I didn't really get anything, because we got into a room where there was absolutely nothing. There was maybe a few diamond ores, and that is it. But luckily, if we went up the stairs, there was plenty of chests, and there was in fact quite a lot of spawners in there, enchants, and so on and so on. So I was very, very happy about that. But yeah, I went through all the chests and took all the valuable enchants, including detonate, which we are going to be used to trench our base, so I was actually pretty hyped about that. And here we are home in our very secure base, and I can kind of show you guys what we got. So we got 6 creeper spawners, which are absolutely huge. On top of that, we got the detonate enchant, which are awesome, as well as creeper eggs and so on and so on. Day 11. Since we were so lucky to get the Detonate X enchant during the raid, I thought, you know, let's just go ahead and add it to this pickaxe and start trenching. Obviously, I did get some white skulls as well, so I put a white skull on the pickaxe just in case that the enchant failed. However, it was a successful enchant. I put it into my PV. I was looking at a few warps, so I kind of want to start a new base, but slowly. So I went to the desert warp and figured out it is completely flat. So that's just some future plans right there. Now, I went back to the main base and pretty much started trenching. But suddenly something prevented me from flying, which I was kind of like curious about. Not really sure why something stopped me, and I couldn't really see anyone, and before I knew it, somebody jumped down the trench, killed me, and overclaimed my base. Day 12. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did take a little break right here and kind of thought, is this it? And the reason for that is that I was currently at my cactus farm and just collecting all my cactus and selling it when I figured out that somebody had raided my first base. That's right, guys. Somebody had used TNT to get into my cactus farm. They haven't taken the chest, however, they had removed pretty much everything. For some reason, they had taken all our melon farms. I'm not really sure what happened, but it looks like it's a bunch of TNT and somebody just had an absolute blast blowing everything up. So here I was. I had lost my entire base since the home I had inside of it is completely gone, and the guy probably already took all my spawners. My beginner base is completely blown up, and the only thing I have to my name is one chunk of cactus. I think it's about time that we find a faction or start inviting some people to help me out. Day 16. Welcome to the faction. Day 17. Alright, but welcome to the faction. Day 18. Hey Blackie, welcome to the faction. Day 19. Welcome to the faction, mate. Day 21. Welcome to the faction, mate. Day 22. Welcome to the faction, mate.
Thanks.
Day 23. With a lot more people in the faction, we are now able to claim a lot more. That, of course, means that we can now claim our very first base that we are taking kind of serious. Now, obviously, the first thing to do is claim the base and start trenching a little bit, and we actually managed to trench quite a lot that day. So all in all, I'm pretty happy about the result. Day 25. Now that we have enough claims, we can now start working on a base. So I went into creative mode and made a schematic of a pretty overpowered base. I do want to give Baseball God 100 credits for making this design as well. But alright, now that we have the people and we have the claims, we can now start trenching out for an absolute massive base. So that's pretty much what we've been doing right here. Day 27. After a few days of trenching, we were ready to print in the tray so we can start making the walls. So what we are pretty much doing is that we are going all the way up to 255 and printing in the entire layout on how we want the base. Then we gen it, then we water it, and then we remove the layout. That way we can build it extremely fast, because if you take a look at pillars, it is very annoying to add one water bucket to one pillar. So what we're doing is that we are spreading it out with netherrack, making a flat platform, and just making water go over everything and water it in the end. Day 34. After a few days more, we are now ready to showcase you guys the first side of our base. We got all the regions done, all the pillars done, and all the walls done. This right here actually did take quite a while because we did have to figure out how everything goes together. But now that we are finally done with one side, I'm pretty sure the other two sides shouldn't really be an issue whatsoever. Taking a look at F-map, this is how everything rumbles. So we got our main faction, which is the one in green, and we got the purple one, which of course is our old faction. That way we can keep our power and the old faction can take up most of our buffer. Day 41. And after a few more days, we are now completely done with every single side of our base. This actually took quite a while, but now that we are done with the base, we can now focus on other things. I, for once, have to actually get a set, so I'm ready to PvP whenever we do raids and stuff like that. Day 44. After another few days, we now have our design done. As you can see, it is a pretty dope design somebody in our faction made. We have plenty of blaze spawners, which means I am now able to make my very first set. So that is going to come up very, very soon. But yeah, the design is done. The base is done. Pretty happy about that. Day 47. On day 47, we do our first big raid. My faction is obsessed with raiding and getting to the F-top 1 position. So we made an absolutely huge cannon that was going to spend all our TNT to try to raid one faction. We ended up shooting quite a few shots and get almost one wall away from the box before someone started patching all their walls. And at that point, we had already fired so many shots, we didn't have enough TNT to finish the job if they get on and actually patch. So we ended up not doing the raid and just kind of walk away and take our loss. But I did manage to get a kill inside the checkbox and got a pretty decent set out of it. But other than that, I was fighting some guy inside the wall that did absolutely massive damage. Just another pinpoint that I'm going to need a very good G set. Day 50. On day 50, we are halfway through our adventure, and it is about time that I start making a good set. The first thing to do is obviously get somewhere where I can store a huge amount of books, because this is definitely what I'm going to need. So I made a design of a testing server and started printing it here on Nova. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I am pretty happy about the result of this design. Day 51. I've been spending most of my time doing invoice because that is basically the easiest way to get stuff such as XP, enchants, and stuff like that. I also ended up getting enough XP to buy the Magma Armor set, so the Magma Armor set is pretty much the best set you can get when it comes to the custom enchants and doing damage. And now that I have a ton of different enchants, I'm going to need to sort them out somehow and to try to figure out what each of them do so I can make my very first god set that I've never done before. So I managed to make all of these chests right here with different signs. These are all the enchants that I know or somebody told me that I need on my G set. So I just need to fill up every single dub, I guess. Day 54. So throughout the days, I have been filling up these chests right here with plenty of enchants. Now I need to combine these to make them a better chance to apply to armor. So I don't have enough exactly to make a G set yet. However, I made a little other set, I guess you can call it, for temporary use, because we're going to need to raid and stuff like that, and I really need a set. So I made a cosmo set, put some random enchants on it, and you tell me if it's any good. I also got invited to kill a wither boss, which took quite a while, but I didn't really seem to take any damage. damage, so the set that I made seemed to work just fine. We ended up killing the Wither after about 5 minutes, and I got 3 loot boxes from the boss itself. Opening them up was pretty exciting because I knew how much stuff you could actually get in them. The first thing I got was 2 eggs, and I got a gem crystal as well, so you can have more enchants on your gear. The first pet I got was something that gives me healing potions when I need it every like X minutes. Other than that, I got some black scrolls, I got some mask. Not really something that says wow, but I did get a little bit stuff out of it. To make a little bit of money, I started enchanting normal pickaxes and got efficiency 4 and sold them on the auction house. Apparently a lot of people doesn't bring their own pickaxe to a fight or to something that they're doing, and they end up buying a $250,000 pickaxe because it needed in just that one moment. Other than that, I have been working quite a lot on a legendary quest node, which pretty much means you have to complete a bunch of quests in the quest node to actually get something out of it. So I had to buy 5 lottery tickets, I had to apply a mask, I had to place a region and gen bucket, I had to craft 3 buckets and stuff like that, and at the end I actually managed to get a Valor enchant, a boss summoner, 3 heroic keys, and actually from one of the heroic keys I managed to get a rank which is worth up to 10 million. Day 60. We are going to raid one of the biggest factions on the entire server, but before we are able to do that, we are going to need a massive amount of TNT. So what I'm going to be doing the next few days is just going to transfer TNT from our collectors to our TNT bank. So once we're ready to raid the second richest guys on the entire server, we have enough TNT to do so. Day 64. Today, I promised a faction member to help him out with all his bosses, and he had quite a lot of bosses that he haven't done yet. So obviously, I wanted to help him out because I could actually also get some dope stuff out of it. But sadly, I didn't really get a lot from it besides a few keys, a few enchants, a little bit of money, a few spawners, but nothing really major like the Iron Golem pad that I got very early in the day. But all in all, it was a fun experience. Just sad that I didn't get any of the stuff that I need to make my set. Day 65. I got someone in my faction to give me a very good detonate pickaxe that can remove 15 by 15 areas with a single blow. My plan is to make an absolutely huge cactus farm, just like I did at the start of this video. But to do that, I'm going to need to find a place that is so far away from everything that this time somebody won't find it and just kind of blow it up. I found a pretty nice area in the desert biome, and I thought this was like the perfect place to make a cactus farm. So I started mining with the pickaxe, and as you can see, the holes are absolutely massive. After I got a 3x3 mine completely out, it was now time to lay out how I'm going to do the farm. I decided to go with sand walls, that way I can always tear it down and make an even bigger farm. I also decided that I'm going to have all the collecting chests at the bottom of the farm protected by all of those sand walls. Then I went on the test server and made an absolutely huge schematics of the entire farm, so it would be pretty easy to print in. Then all I had to do is just place all the collection chests, make a roof on top of our entire cactus farm, and pretty much start doing cactus. I ended up being able to do quite a lot of cactus, however it was very time consuming. Day 70. Been working quite a long time on our cactus farm, and I actually think it's starting to get a lot bigger and it's making a lot more money. However, we are planning on completely filling this out. Day 72. Today we are going to be using all that TNT that I deposited into the TNT bank, and we actually managed to raid F-top 2 called the Pink. And we got so much stuff from that raid that we skyrocketed all the way up to F-top 2 and was right under F-top 1. This raid was absolutely huge, and I really wished I was on for the entire raid, but sadly I wasn't. But I joined kind of late, but I did get a little bit of action and saw, well, quite a lot of spawners. When we got back, we can see all the spawners that we got from the raid. We got 2 dumps filled with cow spawners and different things, and we actually also managed to get F-top 2, which was really hype since we literally just started playing. 100 days of Minecraft and F-top 2. Day 81. We are finally done with the cactus farm. Even though it took a very long time, we now have 9 full chunks of pure cactus. Now this right here is making us a whooping 9 million every single hour. So it was worth all the time that we put into it. So GG. Now I have somewhere where I can always get money, and I only have to split with one guy that helped build the entire farm. Day 92. We are getting close to being F-top 1, so we are doing everything in our power to try to raid as many factions as possible. And I was just randomly flying around when I found this base right here. It has close to no walls, and inside is 100 million worth of value. So without hesitation, me and my faction set up a cannon and away we went. Since it only had about 7 total walls and 2 region walls, it took no time to get into it. And before we knew it, we were in, and 100 million was ours after we literally sacked it all in about 1 minute of game time. Day 98. Getting close to 100 days, I had a lot of things that I haven't done, like opening up a bunch of keys because I literally just haven't had the time for it. However, I didn't really get anything useful in the keys, sadly, but I did get quite a few things to make my godset even better. I also placed my first blaze spawners in my vault, which is pretty exciting, and I tried to save a faction member that was about to get drowned by 3 of my faction members. While traveling in the wilderness, I found a small base with a lot of value. So I set up a cannon and I started firing. It only had about 20 walls, so it didn't really take a long time to get into it. I was so unlucky that I had to fill my cannon with sand 1 shot away, so I chose to pearl in because I didn't know if he actually knew I was there. I couldn't find a way down to him, but as soon as I got there, I don't think he actually saw me, so he was just kind of standing there. So I quickly F-enemy'd, got rid of him, and then we could start sacking. He had quite a lot of his spawners in one position, so all we had to do is just get the perfect sack and get all the spawners. Day 100. And there we are, guys. That is 100 days of Minecraft. What an absolute crazy adventure, and I never expected us to get F-top 2 on this server in literally 100 Minecraft days. I still can't believe we actually made it, and there's still so much more to do because we are still creating ourselves a godset, which is, by the way, very confusing and very hard to do. So I'm slowly learning it and trying to get the right types of enchants for my gear and so on and so on. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you comment down below, and obviously make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel and join your daily dose of Dexter by clicking that bell. Other than that, hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. Stay safe in this COVID-19 period, and I will see you guys next video.